How you doing? We're Melbourne band The Groves.
What's up? We're the Black Alleys.
Yo, where's Spunk Machine?
The independent music scene in Melbourne rocks. It rocks much harder than the commercial music scene. It rocks much harder than the independent music scene in any other capital city. It fucking rocks. I can elaborate, but it's not necessary.
We met the Black Alleys at a gig at 161 in Paran. We saw these guys with ridiculous hair and got on stage wearing pajamas and Santa hats and realised that they were probably a band that we needed to hang around with a bit more. So we booked a few gigs with them in the future, and it's sort of, I don't know, they were good dudes, so we went from there.
First time we started playing with the Groves.
We love the Groves.
Yeah, we love the Groves. First time we started playing with the Groves was at 161. I didn't actually get to see them because I got kicked out there as well. But apparently these guys really liked it and said we should play with them again. And sorted something out. And yeah, we played with them 161 again.
Yeah, we tried to set up a gig with them and didn't fall through. But yeah, we came through about 6 months after that or something. I think the first time we played with them was also when we played with the Velvets, actually.
Well, no, we were supposed to play with them.
Yeah,
That was it.
And the singer had bronchitis. Jesus, we probably only played with the Groves the first time like 6 months ago, after knowing them for about 2 years.
We first met the Groves at a gig. It wasn't.
I've got the story. So the band that we just played with then, Mia Wallace, they were sort of pretty much the same band. They played at maybe the Tote when I first moved in with their guitarist a couple years ago, and the Groves played, and I was like, yeah, this is sick. And then, yeah, I don't know, ever since then I was kind of like, I'd like to play with those guys, and then we got chatting, and then, yeah, and now we're here.
Look, it's always great as far as making new friends in the industry goes. Meeting new bands, and when you get to play gigs with those bands again and you sort of bump into each other, it's always great to spend another night getting drunk and having a good time with each other. So, yeah.
What is RippinLife?
RippinLife is an idea. It's a state of mind.
State of mind.
That's
It's
a
a concept.
concept.
It's a community. It's just everyone getting together and collaborating.
Sound like a
Jamming.
I know, but you sound like the biggest dipping.
Hey man.
There's a lot of musicians that get together and practice and like how to make music with each other, without each other, starting bands, just
Yeah,
Help
that's
each other out.
skating.
yeah, that's the bottom line. It's a bunch of musos who all support each other and jam with each other and all play in each other's bands and go watch each other's bands. It's just a good little crew of people to be hanging out with.
I don't really have much of a social life outside of music. Like the bands that we play with tend to be most of my friends, and but yeah, there's you get to meet a lot of bands when you have 3 or 4 bands on a bill, and you force yourself to meet new bands, and yeah, otherwise it gets pretty stagnant. So you do have to really stretch out and meet as many bands as you can, and it's Melbourne's a good city to do it in because there's so much music going on.
The independent music scene in Melbourne is fantastic. There are some fucking unbelievable bands just across the board in so many different genres, from the funk soul scene to the underground beats kind of thing to punk music. I've got such a great city to live in.
I think it's kind of interesting that, because we sort of, mingle with music students and stuff, and before, 2 years ago when we didn't really know what was going on, we weren't playing gigs, we had no idea what was happening in Melbourne, and it's just sort of, you have to kind of submerge yourself in what's happening in Melbourne to sort of, try and fathom what is happening in Melbourne, and I think it's awesome that you can, just see a band any night of the week, no matter, what you're into. I think that's cool.
The Melbourne scene's amazing. Just watching venues drop is really heartbreaking. But I got nothing. That's it. Yeah.
The music scene in Melbourne tends to be, well, I suppose it's not just Melbourne, it tends to be a worldwide thing, I think. with major record labels closing down and major festivals seem to be dying on their ass, they have, like, the music, people are still going to always want music and people are always going to want to create music, but now the only place that people will have to go for that is the local scene. So as much as people say that music piracy is killing music, it's not really killing it, it's just relocating it to the hyper-local. And yeah, Melbourne seems to be really reaping the benefits of that. And it's a lot easier now because of the access people have to the technology. They can produce their own music, promote their own band, and do it all internally and make, not necessarily money, but they can make a lot of music. And I don't know, I like the idea that there's going to be less money in it now, because it means that people that are only really passionate about music are going to be the ones that are making it, and I feel like there's something a lot more earnest and a lot more beautiful in the fact that people do it for the love as opposed to the money, which doesn't exist there.
Thank you.
Yeah, we totally feel like it's a big community of musicians in Melbourne, I think. We're all sort of from different backgrounds and that sort of thing. Like, Troy's from the Peninsula and we're from all over out east and west. But in Melbourne, it's a really vibrant scene and, like, so many different musicians playing in different bands and stuff. It's cool to see, like, a lot of crossover and that sort of thing. So, yeah, it's definitely a big community, I would say.
One big happy